Each year, Microsoft Research hosts hundreds of influential speakers from around the world, including leading scientists, renowned experts in technology, book authors, and leading academics, and makes videos of these lectures freely available.
I'm Kyle Brinkman. I head up new product development in MySpace. I was here last year and I got to meet a lot of you, and appreciate being able to participate again this year. It's been quite a year for MySpace. I was reflecting back. I think when I was here last year, we had about 10 million users. Since then, we've grown by about 8 times, approaching about 80 million registered accounts. That growth has led to obviously a huge amount of press and attention, not always of the best kind, and partly what I'll talk about a little bit today is the issue that's really risen to prominence, so kids on MySpace, and really what I like to do is just frame some questions. I think that was kind of the goal of these talks, and these really are questions that, as a practitioner, these would be my three questions, I guess, to what Dana Boyd asked us just a few minutes ago. So I'm going to talk about the kids thing, but actually a couple of other things have come up, actually just talking to people here at the conference and at similar venues around MySpace, and interesting things that I think could be great areas of research. The first kind of question I would pose is when is bad design good design? I'm sure a lot of you have seen the talks about, or some of the discussion online about why is MySpace such an ugly place in some respects? Why is the design so bad? Why are pages designed so bad? Jesse Garrett, well-known user interface designer, kind of had, I think, a really interesting piece and theory about that, in which he basically said, okay, so why is MySpace so popular when it seems to look so bad? And his thesis, if you will, on that was basically that MySpace presented a face to the users that the site is just like you. We don't know any better how to do design than you do, and it made it a lot more approachable for the common user, the average user, to just sort of mess around with the site. He also suspected that was not intentional, and indeed it wasn't. I can remember the first moment when we sort of realized that customization of MySpace pages was going to be a big thing. It was about a month after the site started. One of the early users posted a bulletin which was simply the letters HTML with strong tags around it, and sure enough, in the bulletin, it was bolded. Within about a few hours, you started seeing the first appearance of background images of wacky cursors, and all kinds of customization started flowing up. So it's really remarkably fast that happened, and I think that whole set of thing really raises a couple of questions, though. Yeah, that it is approachable. We are the first to admit that design is not our emphasis at MySpace. We don't really have a really strong design team. But the question then becomes, how do you really make user interfaces that can combine both approachability and maybe some sort of elegance? Secondly, frame some questions around, I just think it's really fascinating that we reached a point with design, with the technology of HTML and style sheets, that it became kind of this idiom that people could just sort of use very easily without being really adept at it. So it was kind of this moment. It was kind of a point when HTML became really easy for people to use. I'm running quickly out of time here, so I'll just point to the second area of questions that people often approach us with. And I don't think Mark Cantor is here, but if he were, he'd probably be shouting at me about FOF, and he'd just be shouting. So that's a question we get all the time. When are you going to open up your data? It's not your data, it's the user's data. We need more access. We need portability. We need to be able to, the world should be one big happy place of exchange data. And of course, the response is really, well, okay, so if we're going to break down this walled garden, the question is kind of who pays for the gardener? It's really hard for companies like us to see value in sort of opening up our data. And actually, I think it's not always clear that that's really what you want. I think a lot of users are really attracted to MySpace by the fact that it is sort of walled off, that mail, for instance, is not just email. You can't get spammed all over the place from anyone. You have to be on MySpace to get that mail. Last big set of issues, which I would like to tee up, and maybe we could have a discussion about it if people are, because I know people like Dana are really doing some interesting work on this, is really about kids on the internet. Obviously, it's tremendously controversial for a lot of people, and MySpace has become the lightning rod for that issue. For me, I think what we're facing now is a question around what's going to is the question, can the internet be made safe for kids, or is there another question like, are we just not getting it? Is the media overreacting? And then secondly, I think as practitioners and as researchers, we're going to be facing a very interesting time. There's going to be a lot of pressure from government, from corporations, from individuals to regulate these activities. I can sort of foresee a world in which we all have RFID tags, and every time we log on to anything, we're being tracked. Our activities are being monitored. If that's not the world we want, I think we need to come up with very intelligent responses to this kind of hyperbolic concern about safety and children on the internet. Thank you.